All right, so in this video, we're going to be subtracting some whole numbers and some decimals. And I wanted to show you the difference between the two and what is slightly different about the subtraction of whole numbers and decimals. So let's go and get started with the whole number. One thing that we know is when we have a whole number and you're subtracting, you want to line up your tens, your ones, and your thousands and your hundreds all together. So you want to make sure you put all your ones together, your tens together, your hundreds, and your thousands. So this first number reads 4,295. Our second number only reads 907. So when we're subtracting 907, we want to make sure we put our 900 in our hundreds column. We have no tens, and our 7 is going to go in our ones column. So since we don't have any thousands, we leave that blank. So let's go ahead and subtract this. We know we can't subtract 5 ones from 7 ones, so we are going to have to ungroup our 90 and change it to an 80. So we're going to ungroup our 90, we're going to change it to an 80, and we're going to bring the 10 over here in the form of a 1. So now we have 15 minus 7, which is 8, and you can subtract 15 minus 7. And we have 8 minus 0, which is going to be 8. 200s minus 900s. Well, you can't subtract 200s minus 900s, so we're going to have to ungroup our thousands. So we're going to change this from 4,000 to 3,000, and we're going to bring our 1,000 over here, so it's now actually 1,200, but it looks like a 12, so we simply just subtract 12 minus 9 is 3, and then we bring down our 3 because 3 minus nothing is 3, okay? So you can subtract from nothing if your larger number is on the top. But you can't subtract from nothing if your larger number is on the bottom, okay? So this is how you subtract whole numbers. So now let's take a look at this decimal. Okay, we've got two decimals here. One reads 42 and 95 hundredths. The other one reads 2 and 907 thousandths. So we want to make sure you put all the ones, the tenths, the hundredths, the thousandths, all in their individual rows. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the 42 and 95 hundredths. All right, now we are subtracting, but the first thing I want to do whenever I'm adding or subtracting, I always line up my decimals. I will always put my decimal first. That will help me write this number and keep everything in its order. So we've got 2 ones, so I'm going to put that with my other 2 ones. We've got 9 tenths, so that's going to go in my tenths column. We don't have any hundredths, and we have 7 thousandths. Now, this is what I was talking about, how when you have nothing on the top, you can't subtract 7 from nothing. So we are going to have to fill that in, and I always recommend everything on the right side of the decimal, even if it's on the top or the bottom, I always recommend filling those in with zeros. All right, so we know we can't subtract 7 from 0, so we are going to have to borrow from our hundredths column. So we're going to take away 1 from our hundredths column. We're going to bring that hundredths over here and put it there. So now we can actually subtract 10 minus 7 is 3. 4 minus 0 is 4. 9 minus 9 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. And 4 from nothing is still 4. Okay? Or you could fill that in with a 0 if you'd like. Okay? Now the last thing I'm going to do, we've written it vertically, we've lined up our decimal, we've renamed our decimal, and that was right here. This is the one that we renamed by adding a 0. We made it 950 thousandths, and we brought down our decimal. So the last thing we want to do is bring down that decimal right underneath all the other decimals, and that is how you subtract decimals and how it's slightly different from whole numbers.